Me slouching. Welcome. Today is, let's see, the 21st, I believe. Let's see. Is that true? Yep. Today's Tuesday, the 21st, 2022. We finally got a little hot weather here in Michigan. It was about 92, 93 today. And, not like the rest of the country. I guess the rest of the country is getting it a lot. And this is the first day that it's been hot here. I wouldn't say it's unbearable. Aidan's anchor. No, it's not unbearable. If you have a pool, especially like I do. I've been in the pool several times today. Started off this morning, started my day right off in the pool. This is my time of the year. I've told you guys, this is my time of the year to cut hay. So that's my major thing that I'm working on right now. But not a whole lot of what I do happens first thing in the morning. So I have time to get chores done and, socialize a little bit with my people. I did that today. I had to go into town actually. I needed baling twine. And I can tell you that's gone up in price. It used to be about $50. It was $67 for two spools. I used the thistle, the biodegradable stuff. The plastic stuff was about $30 for two. But I don't like that stuff, and my baler doesn't cut it. The way the baler works is it's a round baler, so it's got these tines on the front that pick up. And on a brighter note, like right at the end of the year last year, I was having some problems with the baler. It wouldn't pick up. It just wouldn't pick up. And I thought, well, what's going on here? And I should have been able to determine what the problem was, because when a friend of mine came over and looked at it, he says, you don't have any tines on there. There was about 4 of them left, and there's supposed to be, I think, 28 of them. And they just, over time, they just wear out. They're spring steel and they break. And they're all over the place. They must be all over the field. You do find them occasionally, even from long ago, not from our equipment, but from somebody else's equipment. So I do find them occasionally. All right. And anyway, it was a very easy fix on this round baler. Once I had it opened up, I could open it up. There's pins to put in it that hold it open, and you could get right in the back. I think it was about 6 9/16 bolts that I had to take off, and this cover came off. And then the reel in there with the tines on it was just right there in front of you. All you had to do is I got an air ratchet and just took them off and then put new ones on. The new ones were about $4 a piece, and they had them at a local implement dealer, the Aidan store. They had them there. So I was really thrilled with that. And I forgot that I did all that. Right. And so today I went out there and I thought, and then, wait a minute, I changed those right at the end of the year. And so when I started baling, it was sucking those bales, those windrows in like it was like vacuuming them in. I did not plug one time. So yeah, the baler worked really good. It had this other problem that it's always had. On one side, there's arms that come over and cut the strings after you're done making the bale. And on one side, it just wouldn't cut. And I'd reach in there and I'd feel the blade, and thing's pretty sharp, it feels like. And so I would adjust it up or down, or today I just took it out so I could get a closer look at it. And then I took it in and I put it on the oil stone and I worked it a little bit, and I got it so it was sharp enough that I could shave the back of my hand with it, and bolted it back in, and boy, did that thing cut. So then the other side wasn't cutting. So as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to go and pull that one off, oil stone that one, and then I should be good to go. I'm still going to be baling tonight. I'm going to bale until dark, probably even after dark, because it's hot out, but it's very dry right now. So the grass, when it's laying in the field, it gets brittle. And so the first bale that I did was off my top field, and I knew that it was brittle. I could just tell from looking at it. And the first bale that I made, I jumped off and I got behind it to look it over. It looked good, except when I grabbed the side of it, and it was like sand. It just fell out. So I moved from there down to my middle field, which is typically a lot wetter. And it was a bit dry right there, but I got 12 really nice bales off my middle field. And that's about my average off that field. And real happy with the quality of the hay stuff. So I'm real happy that that is going smooth. I got to tell you, so long as we're talking about cutting hay, let's see what Aidan got to say here. Good day, Mr. Baker and all. He's coming to us from down under, Southern Australia. 48 degrees and drizzling here in Southern Australia. At Mel Gibson said on Braveheart, perfect Scottish weather. Now you must mean 48 degrees Celsius, eh? You couldn't be talking. Well, even that would be pretty cold, wouldn't it? Wow, that's pretty cold. It must be Fahrenheit then. You guys must be on the English system. Well, good day, mate. What say you throw me another shrimp on the bobby? Hello, Ben. How you doing? 48 Fahrenheit. All right. All right. I just looked. Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. That's right. You're below the equator. So let me ask you something there, Aidan. Now that we're if you were to go in your bathroom and flush the toilet, which way does it go? Valid question, right? That was a Simpsons episode about that, I believe. It's supposed to be someplace down in South America where on one side it goes down clockwise and on the other side it goes down counterclockwise. So it goes clockwise there too, huh? It does here too. So maybe that's not exactly true. I'd like to go to Australia someday. I know only what I think I know about Australia, probably. Just movies, just Crocodile Dundee and Quigley Down Under, and that's about it. You know, there's not a lot of Australia stuff going on, but it seems like a nice place. Except I understand that your libtard government is probably worse than the Canadians. That's what I'm hearing. What are you seeing? What's on the ground there? What do you see? Is it like here? Nothing. There's nothing here. The whole Wu Flu thing, they're trying to get it going, but they just can't get anybody to play along, you know. But I understand that, like in Sydney, they were pretty rough on people. I don't know. It'd be interesting to have a conversation, you know, like a real-time conversation. Okay, so that's what I was doing today, cutting hay, and I'm probably going to cut this short because I'm going to go out and continue. That is what I do this time of the year, and I got 18 years of cutting hay under my belt at this point, but I learn new stuff all the time. I have problems with my hay equipment just like everybody else. And my first thing I think of is, well, I got to run down to my neighbor's house and ask him what to do. But then I think, no, let's look at this a little closer. We can figure out what's going on here. And generally, we can. The other day when I started cutting next door, I plugged up a bunch of times. The hay was so thick. And I just blamed my older equipment. And I thought, I need new equipment. But then when I came over here and I started cutting with my Haybine is a Heston 1090, and it was built like in the 60s, late 60s. And if you bought a newer sickle bar mower now and you put them side by side, mine has more scratched paint and more dents in it. But all of the pieces that matter on there are remove and replace. You know, they're consumable parts, like the sickle bar sections. You have to replace those every few years, or if you damage them, you replace them. And then the guards that go on the header, you replace those. I can still buy those at Tractor Supply. So the other day, I've been using it now for almost 10 years. And I smelled something. I looked back and I had a belt that was smoking. So there was 2 belts on it. One of them burned right off. And so I saw it there flapping, and I thought, well, there's no sense in me getting off and looking at it. I can see what's wrong, but the machine's still functioning. There's 2 belts, and one of them was still functioning. So I thought, might as well keep going. I finished another 10 acres with 1 belt. And yesterday, what was it this morning? Yesterday, I called the Ina store to get another belt, and they referred me to an outfit downstate. And I called them. Yep. And they're going to have it here Wednesday or Thursday. So isn't that nice? That is so nice. Then I'll have 2 new belts on there. And when you're putting the belts on, I got to take a bunch of stuff off so I can look it over, put everything back on tight, make sure everything is lubed up good. And I'm not going to give up on that baler. I'm not. That baler that haybine has served me well for a lot of years, so I'm not going to give up on it. Right? I know that. I know what I said the other night. I was just being petulant. Now, I may get another haybine at some point, but I will keep this one. So I might have 2, but that probably won't happen. You know what? One of the things that I wanted to talk about a little bit today was the homestead. And real quick, this is just something that was impressed on me today. We got Justin's with us, Lane Buck's with us, right on. I've told you this before. I get up in the morning and I think I'm going to do one thing, and I wind up doing something completely different that day, because that's just the way it is. Your priorities change, and our priorities, as far as how we're going to proceed this year, they have changed quite a bit. And you guys might be saying, man, that guy changes his mind a lot. You remember, when I got back from Texas in January, I was looking at school buses, and I thought, I got to have one of these. I got to rebuild a school bus, and I've got to, travel in that and all that stuff. And I didn't want to do anything too hastily. Right? Justin was after me. Hey, there's a bus down here in Ohio. It's really got a nice paint job on it. And the price was right. It really was. And says, I'll go get it and put a starter in it for you. And I was like, whoa. And I almost said, let's do it. But if I had it would have distracted me from my primary, which I still have not really achieved. I'm still not there yet. So I didn't, and now, with the price of fuel the way it is, we have no idea what is going to come this coming fall, right? With our adult education, we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, here it was the weekend before last, we had 24 people come to a pasture poultry class. Never had that many people before in a pasture poultry class. Wasn't even used to it, and but some of them traveled from quite a distance to be here and to get trained up on that, and then they're going back out and fertilizing the countryside with chicken manure, hopefully. If fuel goes up anymore, I mean, if it goes to $10, let's say $7, $8, whatever, if that happens, will people travel? Will that discourage them from adult education? I don't know. If it were me, I think it would motivate me. But some people are, things are just right. I mean, I don't want to say kind of tight, but if they have extra money at the end of the pay period, whatever it is, people consider that their fun money, to go and do stuff with the kids, take the wife out for a movie or something like that. And, it might not work as well as it did. I don't know. I'm not in that position. Like today, I know that the price of fuel was $5. I had to travel to town, and I didn't even think twice about it. I had to do it. So I'm not sure what will happen. And we have gone from, okay, we're going to just do a remodel on the barn and call it good, to I don't know if that'll be enough. Maybe we need to put up a building, and then kick around some figures on that, and like, okay, well, we're going to go into debt on that. But I think we can handle it because our adult education is doing so well. Will it do well at $10 a gallon for gasoline? I don't know. That's a place we haven't been. Prior to this time, we hadn't been to where we are now at $5. So I don't really know, but it doesn't matter that I don't know. I can plan accordingly. So we started out going to do a remodel on the barn. Going to have a dining room and a nice kitchen. Expensive project. And then, well, no, let's not do that. Let's just use the barn for the barn. We'll concrete that in. We can keep equipment down there, but let's build a building. And now we're kind of like, ooh, I don't know. That's a little dangerous to go into that kind of debt right now, depending on and depend on adult education to pay that loan back. So we're holding short right now again on it, and then we say, okay, well, with what we have, we can retrofit the maintenance area, put a new floor down in there, tear out the south wall, put windows in, which I have. I have a bunch of sliding glass windows that somebody gave me 15 years ago, and they've been in the barn basement, and they were taken out of a low income housing unit in town, and they didn't need to be replaced. They were in great shape, but so I'm going to do that. That's where we're at right now. We just discussed it today, and we said, okay, well, we can do all of that if adult education goes this fall. Then we've got a facility that is suited to that. Even though in the 10 years prior, we've had no facility. We've just done it outside and in the butcher shop and in the house. If that doesn't work, let's say that doesn't work. Why is it that it wouldn't work? It could be that the wheels completely fall off. And I am hearing stuff like that, but I'm also hearing that because of the rhetoric that we put out about, hey, uh, you know, prepare, get ready for this, that because of that, you've got a legion of people that have said, I'm going to put a garden in this year. I'm going to raise chickens this year. I'm going to do a couple of beef cattle or steers or whatever. So I think in the course of them trying to create a disaster, they've created the solution, right? I think they have. So I think that the American public is going to step up and save the day. Yeah, we might have bad haircuts for a year or two, but we're going to be stronger for it. You know, look, we've got a small gathering of people here, and we've got 8 of you that have built or have broken ground on a butchering facility. That's huge. That's huge. And that has a serious impact. All right. So I think the Americans are going to step up and save the day. And it's not going to be a whole bunch of Americans, but it'll catch on too. It's like, hey, how come you guys are doing so good? How come you're not scared? How come you're progressing? Oh, because we farm. Oh, can anybody do that? Yeah. Yeah. Anyone can farm. Imagine that. All right. So Inga's saying, get these on there, Inga. $10 per gallon would stop everything from stores being stocked to fuel being brought to pumps. I guess we'll see. But, I think people would say, would $15 stop that from happening? Would $20 a gallon, would that stop the machine? I don't know. We probably surmised not too long ago that $5 a gallon gasoline, people just couldn't afford to go to work. Well, I was in town today. It was plenty busy. People were going to work. Drove past several of the factories in town to get where I was going, full of cars. They're all going to work. So, what I am not seeing? There are places like we're kind of a bedroom town to Cadillac. And there are places in this town, where in this county, where there's parking lots, and they're at kind of strategic places. One of them's on the corner of 66 and Falmouth Road, and it's been there forever. And I remember when I first started coming here, there would be 10 cars in there, and I'd say, well, what's this all about? And this is, oh, these are people that meet here in the morning, and they're all working at the same place, so they carpool in. I'm not seeing any of that. None of that. So at $5 a gallon, people are saying, nah, I don't want to ride with Tony. I don't want to ride with him. Nah, I'd rather ride by myself so I can listen to ABBA or whatever. So it really hasn't gotten that hard on people. Any of the pain that people are feeling, I think it's psychological, because when it gets to the point where you can't buy gasoline because it's $20 a gallon, and you've only got $20, and a gallon will only take you in your 3/4 ton 4-wheel drive dually pickup, it will only take you 10 miles. Then you'd be like, well, maybe I should have got a Subaru Justy or something. So, and I know Justin's going to say, I got one of them. So I don't know. I don't think it's that serious right now overall. I know there's a lot of pain individually, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I think it's forcing people to pick a side, pick a way of life. It's forcing people to pick a way of life. Uh, anyway, I was probably 23 years old before I even knew what the word decadence meant. And I was working with two Air Force officers. I was the guy that was taking care of making sure that the power stayed on. We were at a remote location, and they were the ones who were communicating. Uh, it was a mobile command post type scenario, and we were on a base that had no. It wasn't a base. It was a bare area that was just set up by the engineers real quick, and then these guys had to, talk to the airplanes as they're coming in and not help them land. They couldn't even see them, but tell them where they were going to go and offload their cargo, find out what they were bringing, and things like that. So anyway, these guys were both captains. I remember them really well. I suppose if I thought about it, yeah, doesn't matter. But this one captain was talking to me about the difference between American society and South Koreans, because it was in South Korean air base, and we were riding to work in the back of pickup trucks, and it was about 2-3 miles to get where we had to be, and we would go past these Korean GIs that were digging in just shorts, no shirt, and they were digging in these bogs, and they were Korean GIs. And it was just part of their details. Like our details would be, oh, you got to clean the bathroom, or you got to do that. These guys, they were growing their own food there. And the difference between their military and our military was, wow. Like they were flying World War II airplanes, no joke. And we were flying quite modern, well, C-130s. They're not really that modern, but they weren't more than about 10 years old. But these guys were flying 117s and C-123s, which we don't even see them in the United States anymore. They're just not used. So anyway, the conversation was about how Americans are decadent. And I said, tell me more. What do you mean decadent? What's that mean? And he would be like giving me examples. And then I started throwing in examples, stuff that I had noticed. But Americans a lot of time are picking form over function. And in third world countries like South Korea, it is function over form. So they're probably saying, man, we're doing our missions way cheaper than these Americans are with these C-130s. We're using these 123s that you can get parts anywhere for. And, so they see it completely different than we do. And, we get a pretty good paycheck as an American GI when you compare it to other militaries. I had enough money to get haircuts, civilian clothes if I wanted them. And, at the time, high top Reebok sneakers were it. And here we were in Korea, and you could get them for $20. And at the base exchange in Japan, they were, $45. That was like the rage right back then. I don't think I'd wear them now, but they were pretty nice. Now that I remember, high top Nikes and stuff. Maybe they still got them. I don't know. But Koreans didn't have stuff like that. They didn't have anything like that. We were living pretty fat compared to them. Like we would go into our dining hall and we would say, "Oh, this food is slop." But if we ever ate on the Korean side of base, they would invite us, and they were truly eating slop, and their stuff was, you didn't even know what it was actually. But they eat dogs over there too, so you never really quite knew what you were getting. So not many people went over there and ate. It was an experience, but not that good of an experience. Anyway, I think a lot of the decadence that we experience here in the United States, people are going to see the light and they're going to say, I don't know why I've been doing that. That's just kind of a waste of resources that I could put into something that ensures me a little bit of more stability. If you're spending, $100 a week on, I don't even know what people like Netflix and stuff like that. That costs money, I'm sure. I don't have it, but and it's a time waster because you got to sit there and watch it. We have something. I think it's Amazon, but I don't know how much that costs. I think it's like $10 a month, but it's just for documentaries and stuff. I guess I don't know. That's all I ever watch. All right, Vindicti's with us. Nancy's with us from Shaw Lake Homestead, another one of our affiliate farms. Okay, so we are bobbing and weaving again. We are going back to the original plan, although not quite that plan. Slightly different location, but the maintenance shop. We're going to utilize the maintenance shop and lean a little bit more towards processing in there. We know that we want to eventually develop a curriculum for beef processing, but we really don't have a place to do it. I don't feel comfortable the way we've been doing it, where we're hanging a beef off of the front end loader. I'm not comfortable with that for safety reasons, and it just doesn't look good. It's not professional looking stuff. I don't want to do that. So we're going to put an overhang off of the south side of the barn in conjunction with this new floor and some drains and things like this that we're going to put in. And there'll be a high rail up there that we can actually hang a beef from, or several beef. So let's say things don't go well because of a SHTF scenario where gasoline's so expensive that people don't come to adult education. Then I guess that we would probably, our fallback position we would start to butcher beef a lot. We can do that. We have the hands to do that here. We have the technology to do it. So we would probably do that. And beef it's everywhere here. And, so that's probably what we would do. I do want to develop that curriculum, by the way. I think we need to have a homestead beef harvest at some point. We just haven't quite gotten around to writing that up. All right. So, on the homestead, you can pick a direction, but my family is really good about that because we've gone from, okay, we're going to do this to we're going to do this to we're going to do this. And now we're kind of back where we started. And people are like, yeah, that's probably a good idea. They're not saying, gee, I don't like getting jerked around here. But they're seeing the need to play it a little bit more. I don't want to say play it safe because you do have to take risks. And we do that a lot. But it's more utility. It's a win-win. Like if we do, the classes do go this fall and everything is normal enough where we can do adult education, good, we got it covered. If not, then we've got a facility that we can start to do beef in. Of course, if we did neither, we could continue as well. But we want to continue to, fortify the position, make it better, more comfortable. Last year, I must say, for those of you that came to the charcuterie classes that we did 2 of them, and they were highly successful. But in both occasions, it was in late, like February, and it's cold. It was cold. So we wound up doing what we had to do outside very quickly, and then we were in. And, if we had had some space outside that was out of the wind, that was well lit, we would have been okay. But we were right in the wind, and it was just hard on people. Like, when you're learning a new process and you've got the wind whistling in your ear or other places, then it just makes it that much harder. All right. Mr. J. I can imagine military food wasn't great, but what did the Korean GIs think about American food? Oh, they thought it was good. Good. They when they could get a hold of an MRE, they would just sit down with that, and they were very happy with that. So, I was a scrounger. I was a big time scrounger. A lot of my compatriot military buds hated MREs, hated roughing it, couldn't see the beauty of what we were doing. They couldn't see it. They just hated it. And so many times I would get their rations because they didn't want them. I've actually seen people throw MREs away, like whole MREs, more than once. And I would say, I'll take that. And I would come back from deployments with an A bag. I would ditch all my stuff that I was supposed to have after the deployment. I didn't need that stuff. So I would ditch it. And then I would fill up my bags with MREs. So when I got back, it's like, look at all this stuff I got. So I really used to like them. I don't like them so much anymore. I don't know what it is, but my kids got turned on to them, and they thought they were pretty special. It's just fun. You know, there's Starburst in there and little tiny bottles of Tabasco sauce and little toilet paper and stuff. They think it's fun. And then my older kids would pass on to my kids, oh, let's get MREs. And my little kids be like, MREs? Yeah, that must be great. Hey, what are MREs? Oh, they're great. Oh, they're great. Okay, let's eat them. Let's eat them. You know, so every now and then, if we go to General Jim's, which is an Army Navy store, Jill will score a case of MREs. They were still, these were old ones, but they were still a case of them, 12. It was still like $4 a piece. So it's pretty cheap. And then we'd bring them home and everybody pick out the one that they want. And I just take whatever was left because I've eaten them all. And well, not. I shouldn't say that because I've been out for 18 years, so they change them all the time. When I was on that deployment, I remember that particular deployment in Osan. They had MREs. They had beef patties and pork patties, but they were dehydrated. So what you were supposed to do is rip open the pouch and then pour in hot water. Where you're supposed to get that, I don't know. But you pour in cold water and it would rehydrate. And so I just thought, well, let's, I pulled it out and looked at it. It looked like a scab is what it looked like. And yeah, you couldn't eat them you could if you were really hungry, but you just didn't want them. But then they quit doing those. They quit making those. So, and the favorite one was beanies and weenies, but they called them other things. Beanies. GIs have the strangest things that they call stuff, and then it just catches on, and that's just what you call them. Hey, pass me. It's so funny when I think back on it. But yeah, Koreans thought that was pretty good. You could do some serious trading in South Korea for MREs, but you go to the Philippine Islands, and especially if you get away from the bases where they don't have cars, there's no refrigeration, there's no electricity. Oh, you can get just about everything they have for MREs. I'm not kidding. I'll tell you a story about Philippine Islands. We used to go to this place, and we'd go there on C-130s, big cargo airplane, big four-bladed prop airplane, 4-engine plane, and we'd land on this strip. And then we had a bunch of stuff in the back of the 130. We had to get it out, and then we had to take it to a location and set it up, and then put camouflage netting up over it, turn the generators on, get the radios going and all that stuff, get all that stuff done. And then a lot of times they'd say, all right, take it back down, put it back on the airplane, and we're going back to the base. And so you do it. I mean, just teamwork. There was enough guys that it was an exercise in making that happen. So everybody knew what they had to do. It was really pretty fun, actually. And this time we went, and they said, oh, well, no, this time was a little different. We only had one airplane. We usually went to two airplanes, and one of them was broken. So the other guys had to go. The plane I was supposed to go on was one that broke. So they said, go to the motor pool and get some trucks. You guys are going to have to drive out there. And again, they were doing that to make it difficult for us. Like, we got to find this place. It's on a road. We didn't even know it was on a road. You couldn't even tell from when you drop in there in the airplane. So there was some rotten stuff that happened on the way out, and it took us a lot longer to get there than we thought we were. And the airplane that was supposed to meet us there didn't show up till the next day. And we only had half the equipment. We didn't have everything that we needed. This was the time when I was told to bring MREs, and I was smarter than my sergeants. So I thought, nah, I don't need them. And so I didn't have any food. But I ate at the chow hall that morning, and then I scrounged some stuff off people. But I wasn't going to let anybody know that I didn't bring what I was supposed to bring. Not that anybody really cared, but if I said, hey, I didn't bring any food, then they would have cared. So I didn't say anything. And I went to sleep that night thinking, I don't think I ever want to be hungry. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to make sure that I have food. And so that shaped my attitude towards food and MREs and stuff like that. So, but anyway, that trip was when I found out why we never brought any trash back from that location. Any of you that have been to the Philippines, this was a place called Crow Valley. And we would just put our trash out, and the indigenous folks, they're naked, it's in the boonies. They steal it. So anything that you don't want, you put it where they can get it, and they will steal it. And we actually lost a piece of equipment there one time, and I can't go into that, but it was a very expensive piece of equipment that, where is it? And it never did get found. And it was, that's all I can say about that. But yeah, that was an interesting place to go. Very interesting. Anyway, I'm not telling you everything because I probably shouldn't. My dad was in the Korean War when the Koreans left on patrol with a dog. It wasn't a pet, it was lunch. Yeah. Yeah, when in South Korea, they have butcher shops in town, and I don't think they do. They're meat cutting shops. I don't think they kill there, but they have dogs hanging up in the front window, along with chickens and pigs and pig heads and eels and all the stuff that they eat. And I took pictures of dogs hanging in shops, and they were not sensitive about it at all. But when I came back to the States, it was many years later. I was eating at a Korean restaurant with my wife and son, and I remembered the how to say that dish in Korean, and it's bulgogi, right? And I asked in jest a Korean waitress, do you serve bulgogi? And she got quite upset at me, and I didn't understand that. And I by the time she was agitated and looking across at me and threatening to kick us out of the restaurant, it was too late to say, "Oh, I'm just kidding," you know. So they were pretty sensitive about it because I guess after World War II, they took a lot of heat about being dog eaters, and but they are. But they're not just any kind of dog that you'd see in the United States. They look like a Weimaraner dog, and when you see them hanging in the butcher shops, they're usually uh, must be scalded and scraped because they don't have any hair on them, and their skin is still on. They're not skinned, so must be. But when you live in a place like that they serve dog, I ate it. I mean, you're there. It's like, especially when you were with a bunch of GIs and you're new, and you're trying to fit in with the older guys. It's like, oh, you got to have some of this. This is really good. Oh, go ahead and try it. We'll tell you what it is, and you eat it, and then they say, well, it's dog, and you're supposed to throw up on the table. But I knew they were trying to get that response from me. So I just said, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Give me another Closters. Actually, no, it's not Closters. Closters is actually Australian. But I was in Thailand, and that was the kind of beer that we liked, that GIs liked, was Closters in Thailand. The Thai beer was, yuck. Okay. Vindicti says, there are government surplus auctions all the time, and MREs are going for a couple bucks each. I've been tempted to buy a pallet of 1,000 MREs. Yeah. That'd be nice to have. It really would. They're not that bad. Ever eat the silkworm larvae from the street vendors? No, I never have. I never heard of that. I did eat monkey, in Thailand, and I got really sick from it too. I got some sort of bug from that, and I was really sick with that. Got to be really careful over there what you eat. I got the same thing in Bolivia from an ice cream, actually. Somebody bought the wrong ice cream and figured out that they weren't supposed to be eating that ice cream. Said, here, you want this? And I ate it. And I had no idea what I was doing. But boy, did I get sick. But I was so sick when I was in Thailand that I had hallucinations. And I thought that there's all these little animals out in the jungle. They look sort of like a, like a big groundhog. They have that same face. I cannot think it's almost like a koala, but they're on the ground and they scurry out of your way, but never too far away from you. And they sit there and they look at you. The Thai people, they shoot them and eat them. I think we ate some of those. But I thought I saw those things running around my bed. And I thought I was in my bed at home, my parents' house. That's how out of it I was. I was gonzo. That's exactly what I had, was a monkey shish kebab. That's exactly what I had. And I remember thinking, I was getting loosened up with a few cool ones, and I'm thinking, let me just try it. I was with a local tour guide. A bunch of us guys had local tour guides with us that were showing us around. And that's when that happened, because the tour guide was eating some of that and offered me a bite. And might as well. Can't hurt me. I'm 23 years old. Invincible. Right. All right. So, you got to bob and weave. And I think that's something that people should kind of take into consideration right now. Whether what's going on in our country is reality, it's still the waves are going to hit you. And that is part of your preparedness, is rigid flexibility as far as if you need to shift and do something different. Don't worry about it. Do what's best for you. Don't stick with a plan just because it's a plan. Don't do that. Not right now. I mean, you don't have to. You can do what you want. I'm just saying, don't feel as though, well, I'm going to speak for myself. I'm not going to feel as though I should do that. For a moment, I thought these people are going to think I'm all over the place, but I want to explain that that's what you have to do. That is the way it is. So I'm going to end it there because it looks like the sun is about to set, and I'm going to have an hour to be able to do some baling, and will be a fun thing to do. I could have told Jill that nope, no show tonight because we're going to be making hay, but I really felt like I don't like to do that. I say I'm going to be here, and I like to be here when you guys show up, So it worked out good. And now I'm going to get to go out and bale until I can't see anymore. And I really like that. I like working until the sun goes down. So that's what I'm going to do. I didn't hear anything today. I just didn't tune in to much. I think we're staying with the prepare for the worst, hope for the best, and just keep producing food. My thing right now is getting as much hay in as I possibly can because hay equals beef, and beef equals calories, and calories equals, keeping things going. So that's what we're going to do. All right, let's see what we got here. Benedicti's got something. And Nancy's saying, yeah, keep your options open for sure. Gut norovirus from raw oysters in Korea. That was the last time I got a jab, although I don't ever know what the non-English speaking nurse gave me. I know, isn't that wild when you're in those countries and you don't understand a word that they're saying, but somehow you trust them. But now if I went to a local hospital and there was a nurse came in the room, I think I'd be like, oh no. All right. Have a good evening, everyone. All right. Remember, anyone can farm. Now's the time to get after it. You know what else I was going to say? You may be called on. You might be the smartest person in town as far as this stuff goes on. Think about that. All right. See you.